trust in you and know that you.
Baby, that's a loaded one. This is a loaded one. It's David Sosa, y'all. I had been in this position majority of times in my life. I have loved, poured into, prioritized, did anything and everything to show someone I love them and to stay in positions where I didn't think I could leave or should leave. One of the things that's funny is that I grew up in a Christian household. I grew up with parents who've been together to this present day, I think going on 45 years. And, I've seen a lot of long-term relationships. Both my grandparents were together for like 50 years at least. And I've seen this idea that you just stick with people, that you stay with people, and that you work things out. And in hearing that or seeing that, the conversations that are not being had were the conversations of the lessons I had to learn the hard way through these experiences, which is loving and prioritizing yourself and honoring yourself. Sometimes the thing that left me in relationships was the idea that I didn't want to abandon people the way I felt abandoned. I didn't want to be the bad guy that people were to me. I wanted to be something better in this world. So I stepped into a role which was false, based on a great intent. I always say intentions pave the way to hell, right? Good intentions show ain't enough. Listen to LaBelle. It's a whole song about it. And that's what I realized. I really realized that while well-intended, it wasn't real. It wasn't feasible. And it wasn't feasible to me, to my healing, to my happiness, to my comfort, to my joy, to my betterment. It was love unbalanced, being given so freely and so much outpour. The cup was not running over. It was just being emptied to the last bit all the time. And I didn't know how to re-up and pour back into myself. I didn't realize that by choosing my peace of mind, by choosing myself, by centering myself in any and all things and being honest and checking in with how I felt and honoring those feelings, saying, hey, I don't want to do this today, so I won't. I don't want to go to this place, although I've been invited, so I won't. Little things like that was honoring myself, was honoring how I felt. And it felt selfish because I had been conditioned to believe that this was selfish behavior. But I like to always question that with saying it was centered in self. I was self-centered. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. I wrote a song about this. If y'all have heard it and you follow my music in my page, it's called About You. You, the letter, not Y-O-U. And I sang it with an artist named Jaspin. And literally what we were writing about was this idea of what if you were giving too freely of yourself and too much freely of love, and you weren't thinking or factoring in yourself. You were putting yourself somewhere on a back burner instead of saying, hey, my feelings matter. Hey, I matter. And I can't put a relationship and constant engagement with somebody simply because we have a history. Simply because we have love. Sometimes love is not enough. And loving yourself more, the radical self-love that says, hey, I can't do this and I have to choose me and make moves accordingly, despite anyone's discomfort. That's a real lesson. It's a hard lesson, a very hard lesson for some of us anyway. So yes, if you ever feel in situations that you are in a relationship that's not reciprocal, if you feel that you're pouring into people and things maybe more than they are pouring into you, or maybe it's just off kilter, I would say it's time to start thinking about why you're still there. Why am I staying in this? A lot of times we've been told with elders and parents and stuff like that. Oh, just let them be and they'll get over it, or things will change. And most likely things don't change unless you actively are doing something to change the thing. So sometimes that change is removing yourself. Sometimes that change is centering, getting to a place where you can really breathe, concentrate, think, and process your feelings. Be it therapy, which I'm a big advocate for. Go to therapy. As though many of you know me in the spiritual world is mystical and this, that, and the other. I'm avid believer in therapy. And there's no reason why spirituality and therapy cannot coexist in a beautiful space in which your self-healing is paramount and you are elevating on various levels and planes by doing a lot of mirror work, by doing a lot of inner child work, by doing a lot of accountability work, and all that other good stuff. So I hope that if you're in any of these situations or any of these feelings, that you are finding the freedom to radically love yourself and center yourself and put yourself first and honor yourself. How that looks for you. It all looks different for everybody else. How does that look for you? Goodbye, y'all.